When I look back, as far as I possibly can, there's one memory that stands out. Now I'm told I must have been about 2 years old, which makes it rather strange that I remember it at all. It's 78 years ago, nearly 79. I can see myself climbing up into a window and looking out, down onto the street below. And sometimes I wonder whether I really remember it, or whether I just remember remembering it over all these years. That's all it is. Just a moment. But it stayed. I learned later that this was in Sloane Square in London, where my mother and I had lived for a short time. Now that in itself is something of a mystery to me, because Sloane Square is not where you would expect us to be. My mother had very little money. She worked at the Lyons cake factory and did what she could to keep things going. It was just the two of us. My father had died 3 months before I was born from tuberculosis meningitis, so I never knew him. And that, I think, shaped more than I realized at the time. During those days, I was taken to a nursery school, and like many small children, I didn't take to it particularly well. I remember very little except one thing. There was a nurse I was quite happy with. Now, again, I don't think I remember this. I think I was told about it, that's all. But it's so long ago. She was described to me at the time as a funny-looking girl with buck teeth. Children are very direct. But she must have been kind, because she stayed in my memory. She was my favourite, apparently. The rest of it is mostly a blur, except something else that doesn't quite sit comfortably. After my father died, my mother told me that she saw something, an apparition, a young boy sitting quietly by her fireside. Now, whether that was grief, stress, or something else entirely, she never knew, and I can't say either. What I can say is this: stories like this were not unusual in our family. They appeared from time to time, not always explained, not always questioned, just accepted. I do remember that when I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, I used to play in the garden, and I used to talk to him. Of course, there was no one there to talk to, but I used to talk to my dad. But looking back now, that first memory, those small moments at the window, sit alongside all of that. Not important in itself, but part of something larger. Because some stories begin before we're old enough to understand them. Bye for now.